Hello, everybody. So, just to give you a recap, so I think we stopped here. So, there are three managerial actions that the company can do. So, number one is do nothing. Second is to correct performance. And number three is actually to revise standards. So, syempre, do nothing is quite self-explanatory. So, ang tingnan natin is number one, yung how do you correct actual performance. So, correcting actual performance is meron tayong dalawa ditong tinatawag na corrective action. So, ano yung mga dapat mong gawin? Number one, it can be immediate. And number two, it can be basic. So, immediate corrective action means that the corrective action that corrects corrective action that corrects problems at once to get performance back on track. Okay, and number two naman is your basic corrective action wherein you look at how and why performance deviated before correcting the source of deviation. So, um, i-recap natin na ang pagkakaiba nilang dalawa class is number one, yung immediate, agad-agad, i-correct mo kaagad yung source ng deviation. Okay, however, kapag basic corrective action naman is titingnan mo muna how and why. You find out why and you find out bakit at you find out kung paano sila nag-deviate and then you correct the source of deviation. So, sabi nga dito is, it's unusual for managers to rationalize that they don't have time to find the source of a problem and continue to perpetually put out fires with immediate corrective action. So, effective managers analyze deviations and if the benefits justify it, take the time to pinpoint and correct the causes of variation. So, I would ask you which one is better, your immediate or basic corrective. So, kapag something na urgent feeling ko kailangan i-make immediate yung corrective action. However, it is pointed out that basic corrective action is also better in terms of kailangan mo munang malaman kung saan siya nanggagaling. Parang alam mo yung source. Kaysa yung mga iba na nagpo-put out lang ng fire lagi. Parang sinasabi nila na may fire. Sige, ayusin kagad natin. Apulahin natin yung apoy, ganyan. Pero ang basic corrective action is like finding the source first and why. Saka mo siya ipo-correct or saka gagawa ng strategy to correct that. Okay? So, the second option for you is to revise the standard. Okay? Pwede mong i-revise yung standard or like your quota or your target. So, it is possible that the variance was a result of unrealistic standard, too low or too high a goal as a goal. Or ang ibig sabihin kasi nito class, may time na masyadong mataas yung standard because kunyari top management ang nag-set, hindi kasama yung employees, so hindi siya realistic. Masyadong mataas yung gustong gawin ng management. So, in this situation, the standard needs corrective action, not the performance. So, if the performance consistently exceeds the goal, then a manager should look at whether the goal is too easy and needs to be raised. Kasi syempre naman pag ganun daw yung ginagawa meron kasi akong friend kasi 'di ba sa masters, lahat ng mga nag-work doon class is like puro working, lahat ng nag-work, lahat ng mga kaklase ko ay lahat working na kasi ang required is parang 2 years na parang experience sa work, ganyan. Kasi more on application pag magma-masters kayo. Parang ito, very theoretical siya, di ba? Pero pag sa masters kasi, i-relate mo siya sa work mo. So parang may nakapagsabi na, ang nangyayari daw sa company nila is, kapag na-achieve yung target, parang meron silang rewards kasi. Pero the next target na ma-achieve nila or kapag na-achieve nila yung target, saka ulit tataasan. But ang nangyayari kapag hindi nila achieve yung target, parang sila, bababaan yung target, pero at the same time, meron ulit silang training. 'Di ba? Parang siguro rin nila, parang, anong tawag doon? Action din nila para ma-achieve yung goals nila is iti-train ulit sila, bababaan yung target. Tapos kailangan ma-achieve ulit nila yung original target. Okay, ganun lang. So, On the other hand, kaya nga yun ang dahilan, managers must be cautious about revising a standard downward. Okay? Kasi pag binawasan mo yung standard, pwedeng bawasan din yung effort nila kasi mababa rin yung standard. So, kailangan talagang i-balance. Ayan. So, it is natural to blame the goal when an employee or a team falls short. That is normal. So, kailangan mo talagang pag-aralan maigi. Okay. So, the next part of this topic is all about controlling for organizational and employee performance. So, um, dito naman is i-discuss natin kung ano ang organizational performance. I-define muna natin. But, when you hear the word performance, ano ang una niyong naisip? Okay, parang example dito is like, ang performance is, kayo yung performance activities or something. Anong tawag sa senior high niyo? Anyway, so for example, ang example natin ng performance is performance sa isang concert or a race, ganyan, or like performance is your performance, di ba hindi mo alam kung paano siya i-define. Parang ganun din. It's actually the end result of an activity, right? Parang your performance is what you did for the activity, kung ano yung naging result. Yun. So if we would define what is organizational performance, it is actually the accumulated results of all the organization's work activities. So it is a multi faceted concept, but managers need to understand the factors that contribute to organizational performance. Okay, so ang organizational performance kasi class, merong tatlong types ng measure. So number one is productivity. So sa productivity, it's the amount of goods and services produced divided by the inputs needed to generate the output. It's like productivity is mas marami kang nagawa. 'Di ba? Mas efficient ka ganun. And usually ito lagi ang source natin ng organizational performance or measure natin. Kasi pwede siyang kunyari, magkano ang na-generate na sales per revenue or magkano ang sales or cost of goods sold, ganyan. So, productivity lahat yun. Okay, second is organizational effectiveness, a measure of how appropriate organizational goals are and how well these goals are being met. So, ito naman, yung organizational effectiveness is, ito naman, it's the bottom line of for managers, and it's what guides managerial decisions in designing strategies and work activities in coordinating the work of employees. Okay, ito naman is organizational effectiveness is like achievement of goals. So dito makikita na maganda ang organizational performance kapag na-achieve yung mga goal. That's it. Okay, and of course, hindi lang dapat sa organization ang tinitignan natin, but rather industry and company rankings. So, ang example dito is yung mga sa stocks kasi meron yung sa PSEI, 'di ba? Yung parang parang pang blue chip na companies ganyan. Pero meron din yung Fortune 500 companies. Yan, lahat yan ay mga industry and company ranking. So usually pag nagko-compare tayo kasi ng ratios, kinukumpara natin sa industry standard. Okay, so yun yung pwede natin gawin. So it's a popular way for managers to measure their performance. Pero, syempre, as a researcher, alam ko na there is actually a shortage of rankings kasi hindi lahat ng industry is na kumpara nila. Okay. Next is actually about controlling for employee performance. So, for most of us, it's because we like to know where we stand in terms of where we'd like to be and what we'd like to accomplish our work. So we like to know how we're doing. Managers need to provide their employees with feedback so that employees know where they stand in terms of their work. So isa sa mga ways on how you can control for employee performance is actually to deliver effective performance feedback. And idagdag ko lang na dapat yung feedback kasi immediate, lalo na kapag need talaga ng action. Kasi parang for example, hindi niya alam the next time na gagawin niya, pag nagkaroon ng feedback beforehand, at least tama na, di ba? Okay, and of course, using disciplinary action. So disciplinary actions are actually Actions taken by a manager to enforce the organization's work standards and regulations. So, as the term itself, you know that these are the different actions to discipline the employees. So, meron tayong tinatawag dito na progressive disciplinary action. So, it is an approach to ensure that the minimum penalty appropriate to the offense is imposed. So, minimum siya. Ibig sabihin nun, idepende mo ang penalty or action na gagawin mo, dapat minimum siya. Kasi baka naman ang liit lang, pero same lang ng, ang liit lang ng ginawa niyo, yung graveness is maikli lang or yung gravity is less. Pero yung penalty mo, tanggal ka agad, di ba? It's inhumane naman. Ayan. So, I have, here, yung figure ng type of discipline problems and examples for each. So, ito yung mga usually na kailangan isolve ng company. For example, attendance, in terms of attendance is laging nagsisick leave, laging nag-absent, laging late, ganyan. Pag on-the-job behavior and subordination, yung subordination like, hindi siya sumusunod sa mga utos ng boss niya. Failure to use safety devices, alcohol or drug abuse. Pag dishonesty naman is theft, lying to supervisors, falsifying information out, employment application or on other organizational forms. Yan, kasi merong mga ilan para maano sila is, nagpapagawa talaga sila ng diploma sa recto, di ba? Mali yun. Okay? Falsifying information on employment application. Dito nga, stricto ang mga employers nagkakaroon talaga silang background check kung legit yung yung diploma, ganyan. So, dapat ganyan din kataas. Minimum nga lang yan, di ba? Minimum standard lang yan, guys. So, hopefully, makita rin natin yon in terms of sa ating mga politicians. Kasi sila ang dapat mas may mataas na qualifications. Okay, and of course, outside activities, meron ba silang criminal activities? Meron nakulong ba sila or something like that? Or meron silang ongoing case, may libel or pinaghahanap ba siya, wanted ba siya or something? Unauthorized strike activities, working for a competing organization. Ito, alam niyo meron clause dito kapag for example sa Globe at Smart, hindi ka pwedeng mag-work for 2 years ata sa competing organization kasi para kang maging spy. Alam mo na 'yon, 'di ba? Alam mo na yung pasikot-sikot tas aalis ka. Okay. Another one is your types of control. Meron tayong tatlo dito, guys. Feed forward, concurrent, and feedback control. Okay? I-correct ko lang to ha. Wait lang. Ayan, nakita yung pagkakaiba. Dapat feed forward para hindi kayo magkamali sa quiz, ganyan. So, feed forward, concurrent, and feedback control. Yung feed forward, lagi yung tandaan, ang control is ginagawa before a work activity is done. So, before siya, feed forward is before. Concurrent is during. So, while the work activity is in progress. So, meron tayo ditong type of concurrent control, which is called your management by walking around. So it is a term used to describe when a manager is out in the work area interacting directly with employees. So during their work, tinitingnan ka agad yung quality. Diba? Parang may naglilibot-libot dyan. And it's actually a good strategy for managers kasi nakikita nila na hands-on. Hindi yung, di ba, yung idea natin ng boss or manager na nasa taas lang tapos nagpipirma. Sabi nga nila, it's like, ikaw, yung manager or boss nasa tore lang. Tapos, hindi niya makita yung nasa baba kasi nasa mataas siya, di ba? So, minsan, kailangan mo ba tignan clearly or mas malapitan yung closely and clearly yung mga ginagawa ng employees mo. And of course, yung feedback control. Feedback control is a control that takes place after a work activity is done. So, feedback control naman is after siya. So, this is before, this is during, this is after. Ayan. So, let's take a look at this diagram. So, usually, familiar kayo dito, no? Kapag nag-research kayo, familiar kayo dito, yung IPO, input, processes, and output. So, pag input, meron tayong tinatawag na feed-forward control. You anticipate the problems. Okay, kumaga para kang preventive action ito. Okay. Yung processes is concurrent control corrects problems as they happen. So, during na. Eh, yung output is like feedback control corrects problems after they occur. Kumbaga parang sa quality siguro ng products, 'di ba? Nagkakaroon ng feedback control kapag itatanggalin yung mga yung mga reject, hindi na ibebenta. Okay. And of course, we have different tools for measuring performance. I will be stopping here para makat ko sa next video. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one, guys.